Bingo, BookTube. Okay, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to review a few websites for you. These are Bookfinder websites, curators. More and more, these are the sorts of things we need as the mass of information online is impossible. So, I know most of you use Goodreads, but these are 5 alternatives that were curated for you by a wonderful site called Good Books Lately. And please visit them so I'm not stealing their content. I'm not still unsure the etiquette of these kind of review videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave all the really like exploratory explanation stuff to them where they really go through the website. And I'm just going to rank them. So I'm just going to give you really a critique of something, which I think is fair use. So I'm just going to put them, in order. Starting with one that they recommend, which isn't so much a curation site. It's really more, well, I mean, it is, but it's more of a library, more of a collection along the lines of Gutenberg. In fact, it's one that I already knew. I like it. It's good. I prefer Gutenberg, but it's fine. So we're going to put that sort of as our middle, as our benchmark. And that's going to be openlibrary.org. So I went to their, I was trying to remember because it was long ago that I compared these, just free content sites. I think that one of the problems is their advanced search function is pretty small. I mean, apart from author, um, title, there must be a genre one, but I don't remember even seeing that. It's stuff like ISB, there's like 6, 7, 8 fields, but they're not super useful ones. However, there was one for place, so I put that in. And I put Mali, which is quite obscure, which, some of you might know where I did my Peace Corps service. And so here's what I got. I'm just going to do page 1 for you. I want to say like a dozen results here. The very first one is way off base. It's agricultural commodities between the U.S. and Republic of Korea. No idea what that is. It's not a promoted site or something, even though it's at the top. So that was a miss. But then the very next one is Sunjata, the Lion King. We're going to see him again and again, and that is very on brand for Mali. He was the king of the Mali Empire. Segu by Maurice Kande. I also read back in Mali. That's a great one. It's about the city of Segu, the sister city to Timbuktu, with the giant mud mosque. It's pretty famous. Now, the next one, again, I don't know what's happening here. It's the Cologne Kings. It's about a match fixer. So I don't know what that is. Sports, it sounds like, so not at all to do with Mali. Then we get military assistance deposits under Foreign Assistance Act of 1971 between the U.S. and Honduras. No idea what that's in there for. But now we get Badass Librarians of Timbuktu, which is a really cool book I'd forgotten about because I sent it off to my buddy to read. So I had only like scanned it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I want to get a hold of that and read it again. It's a really cool. I went to Timbuktu and I saw the libraries. It's like Alexandrian library, like huge collections, amazing. It was like the premier university on Earth at that time in Timbuktu. So then Sunjata, another one, Lion King of Mali. We're back on track here. Document diplomatique, but Espagne is Spain, so I think that's off. Now we got Mansa Musa, ruler of ancient Mali. He's the one who wrecked the economy of Egypt by spreading so much gold on his way through there to do his Hajj to Mecca. So another Malian king. So that's good. Ghana, Mali, and Saurai, those are the 3 big kingdoms of the Sahel around the bend of the Niger River. That's right on brand. Dancing Skeletons, Life and Death in West Africa. Okay, a little general, but I was afraid there'd be more of those, and most of these are more specific to Mali. Another Sunjata, Legend of Africa. Another Sunjata, Warrior King of Mali. Very kind of graphic novel cover. I'm not sure if it is. Race to Dakar. Yes, this is off. This is in Senegal. Dakar's in Senegal, not Mali. Now, they might go through Mali because they race across the Sahara from somewhere, Le Mans, maybe? Anyway, so I'll give them credit. Path of Allah, Passions of Al-Hajj Umar. That may well be connected. I'm not informed enough to tell you. Timbuktu the Mysterious. That's the next one by Felix Dubois. I think I might have read that one as well. That one's right on brand. Primitive City of Timbuktu, back on brand. Malik Sidi-based photographs. This is one of the amazing photographers of Africa. definitely right on brand. I think I've seen that exhibit somewhere. Understanding environmental policy processes, cases from Africa, may well have one for Mali. And the last is Mansa Musa again, Lion of Mali. So I would say, what did we get? About 75% accuracy there? Not too bad. So that's our baseline, the middle, sort of good. So 3. All right, let's check the next one. My Book DNA, this one is called. And this one, it's a bit weird. It makes it look like they're giving author recommendations like Stephen King's 5 favorite books, but it's actually the five favorite Stephen Kings by Stephen King. So whose favorites? 2,000 some random unknown authors. So this is supposed to be author curated, but I don't know who these 2,000 people are. So let's look and see how accurate they are. They asked me 6 questions. 3 of my favorite books, I put Voltaire, or authors, sorry, I put Voltaire, Twain, and Cervantes. And then 3, what was it, genres, I think, and I put travel, humor, and classics. So here's what it gave me. The very first was explore VG's list on for readers who want a story to challenge them. Okay, I put classics, maybe that's why they think I like a challenge. First is Ben Okri's Famished Road. Loved it, great. And next is Celine's Journey to the Edge of the Night. Third is Candide. Candide is a great recommendation for me. However, it is not a story to challenge you. It's quite easy story. So I disagree with VG, whoever they are, who made this list. And now we go south. The next is one of those, I'm going to call it pompous books, one of those self-important books that has no close. It's called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I still maintain it's a decent short story, fleshed out with hundreds of pages of sophomoric, really basic philosophy 101. So, big miss there. Next is Anthony Burgess, A Clockwork Orange. Now, a wonderful, amazingly delivered, crafted book in that it gets across its message super well. It's also one of the most disturbing messages I've ever read. I really can't stand it. So, with apologies to Burgess, again, way off. The next list under that is a basic Americana with, Hemingway, Finn, Cold Mountain. So, yeah, this one, I'm not loving it. I'll put it for 2 for now. I don't want to put it down for 1, but not my favorites. I think not that useful. All right, next one, Literary Hub. So this one is interesting. You've got craft and criticism, fiction and poetry, news and culture, Lit Hub Radio reading list, bookmarks, and crime reads. I believe they go into how to do the bookmarks on that, why did I keep forgetting? Good Books Lately video, so go and check that out. I just gave this one a pretty quick look in terms of literary criticism. So I pulled up their literary criticism page. We've got, who's here? Oh, this isn't even literary criticism. All right, something happened with that. We'll come back to them. Weird. All right, let's try them again. Craft and literary criticism. Okay, there we go. Now let's bring up the same thing again. Let's try it. This one is also the one that's like riddled with ads. I thought it brought me something more interesting than this, but I guess, you have to really scroll down. Okay. Bookmarks, what the critics are saying. The Mystic. All right, so I guess this is there's one section of a long page that seems to have anything to do with what I'm talking about, which doesn't tell me anything about the critic or why they're recommending them. Just gives a list on which I recognize Goziachi Adichie, and that is the only book I recognize here. One of these sites is definitely more obscure than others in what it recommends, and I think we might be having the same problem here again. So I won't, I will put this down at 1 for now. I'll bring it back up if something's worse, but from what I can find, which is not much here so far, not a big fan of Literary Hub. It does have these reading lists, I think, but so does every other site. So what are the reading lists here? Coming of age, book reviews, best reviewed, Yeah, nothing. I'm going to put that down as number one, the lowest. Next, we have witchbooks.net. Okay, Witchbooks was that one, which I think is great, but it's a lot of very more obscure books. So it's a great place to find things that look awesome and look like what you're searching for, but are not books you will have probably heard of. In fact, I found so few that I can't really tell you how accurate these predictions are, other than to say you can choose four, scales, and there's a sliding thing, so you can put it exact as you want. I just put it all the way to unusual versus conventional, all the way to demanding versus easy, all the way to larger than life versus down to earth, and all the way to unpredictable and expected. And I'll tell you what books I got. You can also pick happy, sad, funny, serious, safe, disturbing, beautiful, disgusting, gentle, violent, no, with sexual content, optimistic, bleak, short, and long. All right, so this one had a book I recognize and that I believe fits those criteria that I put, which is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So it seems to be accurate. And there's some titles on here that sound definitely super fun that I would love to check out. Let's see, what have we got here? Soul by Platonov, Etch City by Bishop. We've got Traveler of the Century, Pig Iron, Murmur, Little Hands Clapping, Sport of Kings. I'm not sure how that got in there, but Notes for a War Story, Life of Insects. What else have we got? Opposite House, Head Crusher, Life Knocks. We've got Blue Mars from the Mars Color series there. And I wonder how they picked that one over the others. We've got Fever Dream is in there, Communion Town, Arab Jazz, Sudden Death, Blood and Guts in High School, House of Leaves is in there. Oh, there's another one that you all probably recognize or know. Manual of Detection, Last Children of Tokyo, History, A Mess. I love that title. There's an Ali Smith in there but for me. So those of you who know these titles, tell me how well you think they correspond to the sliders that I put for unpredictable, larger than life, demanding, and unusual. And another thing that I really am loving is judging by just the names of the authors who I don't know. There are it seems to be quite cosmopolitan. There's a Paul Auster, The Seducer. There's a number of Arabic-sounding names. There's a couple African-sounding names, some Latino-sounding names. Grief is the Thing with Feathers. Oh, I was thinking that was Woody Allen's Without Feathers, which is hilarious. We're Made of Diamond Stuff, Isabel Water. There's an Ismail Kadari. I love him. The Fall of the Stone City. There's a Goiti Solo there. When We Cease to Understand the World by Benjamin Labatut, however you say. Secret Passages. There's an Umberto Eco, Baudolino. See, I think I would want to read about half. There's a Will Self. I would. Lincoln in the Bardo. So I would want to read, I think, about half of this list. So this seems to me like this is definitely one of the better ones. We're going to put it up at 2 for now. Let's put it at 1 for now, even though, I would say all of these are recent, very recent publications. So this is not a place where you're going to discover any classics or even just slightly older books. So there is that limitation. So for now, let's put them at 2. And let's see if our last one can sneak into number 1. I hope so. We've got 5books.com. So the idea of 5 books is these experts, right? They recommend their top 5 books. So one thing I will say is that I did not recognize. I read pretty widely, but again, the names I know are probably dated, so those sort of offset each other. But I didn't recognize a lot of the experts, so I can't know like how expert these people are. I can tell you that for travel books, they recommended Paul Theroux, who is a very famous travel book writer. So I clicked on his, and here is his top 5. And I want to see if you can spot the same limitation, I'm going to call it, as I spotted in his list. This is from Interviews with Paul Theroux, the best travel books recommended by Paul Theroux. One is Worst Journey in the World by Apsley Cherry Garrar. I have not heard of that one, so I can't tell you anything about it. It looks to be a polar exhibition, I want to say. Next, we've got Following the Equator by Mark Twain, a classic of the genre. We have The West Indies and the Spanish Main. That's a trollop. Classic author, but I think not a classic, would-be classic title, but I think fairly unknown. Now, Christ Stopped at Eboli by Carlo Levi is a title that is fairly well known, but I actually haven't read. So can't say too much about that, but I was super glad to see a V.S. Naipaul on here. It's An Area of Darkness, Discovery of India. The reason is that Naipaul was a sort of mentor to Theroux, but they had a falling out. But I hope that means that they're on the ins again. Now, I'll say that Paul Theroux is a very amazing travel writer, really fun to read, worth reading, but a little on the misanthropic side. I'll just leave it at that. But what I am spotting, more importantly in this list, is he is not putting Chatwin, he is not putting, what's the one who did the Appalachian Trail one, Bryson. He's not putting any of his current competitors in this list. He's picking some very old books or books that are more like literature or exploration than travel writing. So clever one, Paul Theroux, but we caught you. So there's like a limitation, right, inherent in the list, depending on the humility, I guess, of the list maker. But I think that this one with these experts making those lists has the potential to be really number one if you can find the right expert. And if you look under the expert, you might find that they are an expert. You just didn't know their name, which I think is the case of in that original video. They found someone I hadn't heard of, and they clicked on them, and it turned out to be like the head of the Walter Scott Prize. So definitely qualified to speak to historical fiction, which is what they were looking at. So yeah, so I think this could be our number one for sure. But my number one, I'm going to tell you, the truth is still going to be the Gutenberg collection. It is just amazing. I know that some of you are going to prefer, the Own Library or whatever it was that we just mentioned, because it's a little slicker looking interface. But if you play with that interface in Gutenberg, there's so much in there. Perhaps it's a little bit the devil, but I still think Gutenberg is the one to beat. Number two, after that, we've got 5 books. Definitely fun to play with. Then the Mood thing for something obscure. And the others under that, might check them out if you're bored, might give them a miss. So here you go. If you know other websites that are really good for curating, finding books, definitely, especially if they're from out of the more common pool of books, I would really love for you to let us all know about them in the comments. Thank you for that.